Hey guys, Timmy D with DroneMappingTools.com, and in today's video I'm going to walk you through and show you what I've done to do a mobile LiDAR mission using the Resepi XT32, a very good LiDAR unit. You can see it mounted up on the back of my Pilot. So I've got a tripod suction mount that I put together to hold the Resepi. You can make a mobile LiDAR mount like this for about $400, and I'll do a separate video just on that to show you what you need to go and get this set up. I'm using vacuum suction cups that absolutely do a good job of adhering to the surface of your car, your windshield, or whatever. So I will do a separate video and show you how to make that tripod so that it will be secure and hold your $30,000 LiDAR unit on the car and not turn loose and fall off. But of course I have it secured anyway as a backup. But I'm going to walk you through and show you what I've done. Doing mobile LiDAR mapping is incredibly simple. The hardest part is just finding a very good area to do your initial straight run, go into a figure 8, and then begin the process of doing the data collection. So again, it's not difficult, but that is the most difficult part of it. So what we had is that yesterday I flew 100 acres, a little over 100 acres, that was bordered on two sides by fairly busy roads. Once you know, so I did photogrammetry the day before, I had something come up, I had to leave. So I go back yesterday to do the LiDAR, and they had moved in with the road construction equipment. There was a lot of traffic, the road was blocked in a lot of my flight. They were tearing up part of the asphalt to redo it. And so that is an important part of what I provide to the surveyors and the engineering firms. They always want the roadways. So anytime I've got main streets that are borders to the property that I'm surveying, I need the roadways. So today I went back, set up the base unit on the benchmark, same benchmark that I used yesterday for the aerial flight, and then I did the mobile mapping mission. So I'll walk you through that, and then we're going to go through the processing, and then I'll show you how I merge the mobile mapping LiDAR with the aerial LiDAR and make sure that everything is matched up vertically and horizontally for all that matters, and that we have a good data set and we're ready to send it on to the client. So I hope this is helpful. Stay tuned. And for any of you guys that need LiDAR equipment, or you're looking to get into LiDAR mapping, Drone Mapping Tools now has everything that you could possibly need to get into LiDAR mapping. We are very proud to now carry the Whisper drones, made right here in my home state of Mississippi, a USA made drone, probably one of the best USA made drones on the market. And so the next video that I'm coming out with next week, we're going to do a complete start to finish LiDAR collection. I'm going to walk you through going in the field, collecting it, going back to the office, processing it, all the way to the very end product. And there's a lot of stuff to learn. It's not difficult once you learn everything you need to do. The data collection in the field is probably one of the easiest parts of it, but even still, you need to learn how to fly, how much overlap you need to fly in certain situations, how high you can fly based on the vegetation or lack of vegetation that you're going to be flying over. So I'm going to cover all of that in that video. We'll have the Whisper drone, the Whisper Ranger Pro. We'll have the Resepi XT32 mounted on there, and then I'm just going to go start to finish. That'll be a good one. But as far as drones go, we offer the Whisper line. We have the Inertial Labs line of LiDAR. We have the Topo drone, which we've been carrying for a long time. Good line of equipment there from Topo drone. We have Green Valley. Green Valley is a company we've just picked up. Great software and great hardware. I'll be doing a tutorial video on the Green Valley backpack LiDAR system probably in about the next 2 weeks. So look for that to be coming out. Global Mapper Pro, we offer Global Mapper Pro from Blue Marble Geographics. So all of the stuff, software and hardware, if you are getting into LiDAR data collection, if you want to learn the right tools for the job, you want to learn how to use them, then we're not just going to sell you product. We're going to sell you product We're going to teach you how to do it, what you need to do to get the best results. And you know, you're going to have hiccups, you're going to have issues down the road, or you're going to just run into things you don't know, and we're going to be there to help you and walk you through that. So stay tuned. Okay, so we now have the Resepi connected. So anytime you connect to it wirelessly, the IP address is going to be 192.168.12.1. You can see I created a thing called Mobile Lidar Tutorial. And so I'm going to click on Start, okay? Now, after I click Start, it immediately goes to waiting for high velocity. And what we're going to do is we're going to drive straight down the road, and then we're gonna go kind of fast. I got a pedestrian up here, and then I'm going to do a figure 8 up here. So I'm going to come up, got little lady and her little doggy. We are going to, so I'm going to come in here, I'm going to do a figure 8. This, and I'm going to have to do another one. I almost missed did our mailbox. The faster you do it, the better. I should have started it way sooner. You even see, so it says we're in navigation, right? So we are now, we're doing the LiDAR mission. So we are now mobile mapping, and I'm going to try to use the video from my dash cam. It'll be better than this GoPro I'm holding, because I didn't have a dash mount for that. Okay. We have now stopped, and we were going to wait 30 seconds while we're just sitting still. So we've already been waiting for a little bit, long enough. And so I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. I'm going to click on stop, and that will now stop the recording. And again, I'll wait just a few more minutes. Well, how long do we actually have to wait? I think they were going to update the software to where, in the firmware, where it would not shut down until it was finished writing all the files to the USB thumb drive that's inserted. So we definitely have been waiting long enough. So now I'm going to click on shutdown, and it'll just tell you, hey, when the LEDs are off, which is instantly, you can unplug the power source. So all right, folks, that is it. Next thing we're going to do is get the base. We'll go ahead and shut the base down and turn off the logging for that, and that's what we'll use later, and we'll process that data and show you how that looks. So I have PC Master Pro opened up, and we are now ready to bring in and open up the LiDAR files that were on the thumb drive. I've copied them over to my local PC, and we're ready to bring these in and actually do the processing so that we can work with the LiDAR data. So I'm going to go ahead and click on File. I'm going to open Project. So I'm going to slide this over here. Now, of course, I have all the files that are needed to make this video, dash cam and all that good stuff. But the folder that contains the LiDAR data is this folder right here. And then this is, when you open up, this is what you're going to see. Now, what I do is I will always make a copy of the folder before I start processing, right? So I have a backup, and if anything goes wrong, then I can just delete the original. I'll make another copy of this and then start back over again. So just, I mean, of course you could copy it in again off the thumb drive, but I just go ahead and make a duplicate copy just so I have it, and then later when I'm done, I can go ahead and delete the extra copies. So let's go ahead and then you're going to double click on this ppk.pcmp. Now later, I'm actually going to do another video. I'm going to show you doing RTK on the Resepi XT32. So I have a RTK USB. Well, it's a data SIM card, but it's in a USB stick that fits into the XT32. So we'll go over that and show you an RTK mission and do that. But for right now, we're just doing PPK processing. So I'm going to double click on this, and then it'll go in and it'll actually unpack. It will automatically ask you about the offset, but that is something that it will determine. It'll actually do processing and it'll determine what the antenna offset is as far as the antenna, your GNSS antenna offset to the IMU. That's pretty cool that it'll determine that. What it's saying right here, it says, well, what's your best guess? Now we can just leave it at that because it's just a guess. If you know what your X, Y, and Z, because if you remember on the car, the antenna was offset to the left. So that's a negative. And we're just going to leave it this 507 because I want to show you what it's doing. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. And then, oh, now it's saying, well, where is your base file? Okay, so we're going to go back up. I want to go to this RS2. It's going to be in Rhinex file, and we'll click on the 23.0 for observation. I was using the base file from my MLID RS2 Plus unit. If you do not have a base unit, then you can always download a CORS file. And when you're going to find out, when you're doing LiDAR, you want a base that's very close to what you're doing, where your mission is located. So you will have better results by having an on-site base. But now you can in fact get good results from a CORS stations. I've had just a few cases where I had a snafu in my logging for the base unit, and I did have to use CORS, and the results were still very good. So it's always best to have an on-site base, but you can still use CORS station, or like in my case, I can log in and download the Trimble log files from the Trimble network here in Mississippi. And then there's a plethora of those all throughout the state, so I can use that as well. So for right now, for this, if I had occupied a known point, a control point, if you will, for a job site, then I would put in those coordinates here. But for the sake of showing you this tutorial, we're just going to accept the coordinates that were in the Rhinex header for the base. I'm just going to click on OK. And now it will begin the process of calculating the trajectory and doing PPK processing on that. And let's see, let's just move this over, because I'm going to show you, and I can close this out. This is just a chart showing you what it's going to do. I'm going to move this over, and let's close this one. See this loosely coupled? This thing is running a processing algorithm, and it's processing the offset of the antenna to the IMU. You'll see this green. See how everything keeps getting tighter and tighter. Every time it starts over and it finishes 100%, the green is slowly but surely moving down, and what it's doing is taking these paths and it's getting them closer and closer to where it can't get them any closer. And then it will change from a loosely coupled IMU GNSS process to a tightly coupled. And so again, once it reaches as good as it can get, it will stop running the iterations, and then you'll see over here, instead of loosely, it's going to say tightly coupled. All right, see how it says now processed or processing tightly coupled trajectory? So it got as good as it can get. And then here are the new values, the 0.456, 0.206, and 0.292. So later we could actually enter that into the Resepi Wi-Fi interface if your antenna is never going to move, and that would just speed up the process because it won't go through multiple iterations to figure that out. It'll just be correct from the get-go. Okay, what I want to show you is that once it unpacked, it created all these different folders, and in the original folder, you just have the one data folder. So these are all the data files that were written, which are kind of compressed files. But in this one, once the data files are still there, but then when it unpacks, it then creates like a camera folder, the INS, which is your trajectory information, your LiDAR folder. So all that stuff is unpacked, and then it begins using the various data files for doing all the processing. So, and now that this is already done and finished, we can close that. And now we are close to being done. And then once it finishes processing the trajectory, it'll give you this last chart. We can close that out. And then down at the bottom, you're going to see where it says loading LiDAR. We'll hit 100% on loading the LiDAR. Now it's actually populating the visualization. So now the points are going to be processed and put on the screen. And then after that, that's when we're going to go in and we're going to get rid of the calibration pattern that we drove and only start where we want the data to be and finish it where it cuts off. So if there's only a small section of what you drove, then you can do start and finish and only have that section of the data in the LiDAR that you're going to work with and ultimately export out. So maybe you actually went out and flew, or in this case, drove a pretty good bit, but for various projects, you only need a small section. Well, I'm going to show you how we can go in and clip that out. So I'll let this run and then we're going to speed it up in the final video. All right, so now that the LiDAR has been populated on the screen, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go up to LiDAR Tools and I'm going to go to paths. Well, actually, no, first. Just to show you, I'm going to go to our cloud filters. This is really more important when I take time and go over the aerial LiDAR. For the Resepi LiDAR unit, this cloud filter kind of comes into play for the aerial LiDAR more so than for this mobile. But what I'm just going to turn off the rotation angle, because when we do the mobile LiDAR, we don't want to filter out anything. I want all of it, okay? And then this right here, this distance filter, I do want to filter out. So coming behind the car, if there's any, like if I have the rack on the back of the car, just to ensure there's no noise or anything. So what I'll do is I'll actually take that, oops, we'll do 2 meters. Now if I did 10, I do 20. See how it starts to filter out some of this stuff? So this is the data that's within 20 meters. But anyway, I'm just going to say nothing closer than 2 meters is going to be accounted for, and anything beyond 120. So that's a good range on that, so we don't have any extra noise from a long distance. So that's it. That's the only thing I'm going to change on that. Now, you can see the points, and then slightly on there you see our path. But for this, we're going to go up. We're going to LiDAR Tools. I'm going to go to Paths, and we're going to remove. And basically what that's going to do is just remove all the points so that we can come in here and specify our path. Now, in this case, now to move, if you want to move or work within an area, I'm going to hold the control key down, left mouse click, and then drag it down to the center of the screen. And then when I zoom in and out, it's whatever's in the center of the screen is what you're going to see, okay? So I don't want any of this, quote, figure 8 stuff. So now I'm going to come, matter of fact, let's just say I want to start right over here. I'm going to right mouse click where I want to start, hit start selection here. I zoom out, and then over here, again, I can hold my control key down, move it to the middle, zoom in, and let's say I just want to stop it somewhere before I actually stop the vehicle, or it could be out here on the road, doesn't matter, but I'm going to right mouse click and say finish selection here. Now it's going to go through and it's going to populate the LiDAR points for the start and stop. And I can't zoom while it's doing that, but if I had just a
a small segment of the roadway that I actually wanted, well then I would have done start and stop for the segment that we needed to work with and export out for working with it, doing whatever it might be. It could be a roadway inspection, it could be power lines, it could be, you name it. So anyway, again, once you do the start and stop, it will and go through the process of doing the visualization or populating the points. So yeah, you have to wait ever how long it took the first time. It'll be just slightly less because we don't have quite as much data in there for our start and stop. But again, I'll let this finish and then we'll get right into it. All right. Oops. Hold control, we can move it back and forth. We see now that the LiDAR points were not generated for this section right here, which we left out because we said start here, and then we ended even short of where the vehicle stopped. That's it. So all we want to do is now go up to LiDAR points and, file, export LAS file. In this case, I didn't even have the camera lens cap taken off. It was still on there because we are not going to use a colorized point cloud when doing mobile LiDAR data. In this case, the only thing I want to export is the file without color, so I'm going to put a checkbox in that. If we had in fact created, we could do start and stop if we did what I'll call a loop back on the mobile LiDAR data, and we wanted the different paths so that we could compare just a single path and then bring in the second path and look at the strip alignment, and then also just maybe compare the data with one path or without. Now you would want to export the individual files, but in this case we did a start collection at the very beginning and we came to the very end of it and hit stop, so we just have one continuous file. Okay, so there's actually no reason to put a check mark in do individual files. Now if you want a compressed LAZ versus LAS, you can put a checkbox in there. I just always leave it at LAS. Okay, so I'm going to hit export. And what this is going to do is there's going to be a folder called clouds. Okay, and down at the bottom you can see the process. Now this is moving a little slower because I am recording video. So when you're not recording video, then that thing will just hum right along. Okay, so we're gonna, all right, so we're still at 30%. But this folder called clouds, this is where it is writing the file now. And because it's still in the write process, of course, the size is 0. But once that is complete, then the file will be in the clouds folder. And at that point, now we can take that and import that into whatever program you prefer to work with. So we have Global Mapper, I have LiDAR 360, and then also LiDAR 360 MLS. So, I mean, there's, I've got a customer that uses TopoDot. So whatever program you are using and working with the data, you'll just take that last file that was generated in the clouds folder, bring it in, and then you're ready to work with the data. All right, there we go. The file is completed, it's done. Let me just move this out of the way. And we can go ahead and close this right here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up Global Mapper Pro and bring it into that. Okay, we'll just drag that in, hit OK. And it'll take just a second to read all the points. All right, so our LiDAR point cloud has been imported. And so the first thing I always do in Global Mapper is I'll download the background map, just the world imagery, so that we can make sure that everything is where it belongs, and lo and behold, it is. I mean, so this is the area that I drove. So again, came down into this cove, did the little figure 8, came out, and then of course, you can see everywhere we went. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and kind of dive in and look at some of the point cloud data. So I'm going to turn off the world imagery, right? And then let's go in and we're going to look at it in 3D, in a 3D view. And I just told you now look, we could have filtered out the distance. Like if you didn't want all the houses, if we were only doing an inspection of the road and the power lines or just the power lines, we can filter out the points by distance so that all the points hitting the houses and all the trees, that we only had power lines. You know, when you're just driving down the road and collecting power line data, we don't need all this other crap. I mean, that's just extra points and slowing everything down. So anyway, the power line details are very good. I mean, so you can go and take good measurements on the power lines as far as their height above ground, the space between the lines, and all that good stuff. We have gone back in to this job, and so I wanted just to kind of cut it down a little bit, so we mainly have just the roadway and the power lines. I just want you to see the quality of the point cloud. And so you go into LiDAR tools, cloud filters. Man, this is where, let's say you were going to do a facade scan of a building, and you take your vehicle and you drive around the car. Maybe you have multiple buildings, and you always go the same way, counterclockwise or clockwise. You could, in fact, change the rotation angle, right? So if we did 360, and I come here and did 180, or 200, okay, see how I'm actually going in and cutting down? I can do just 1/2, okay? So you can only have the scans look at 1/2 of the unit, but in this case, we're not interested in that. But what I did do is I cut it down to 25 meters. Well, let's say I went to 20 meters. I can get to a point where I'm only doing just the roadway, and actually I could do 15. And now I'm even going to cut out the power lines. I'm getting to where we're doing just the roadway itself. But in fact, I did just want to, I set it to 25 meters so that I would pick up the roadway and the power lines. So let's go ahead and close this out because I did re-export that. Now this is where I brought that in to Global Mapper. And again, when I bring something into Global Mapper, I always like to download the world image just to take a look, make sure that it's where it belongs, and it is. Now look, this is Global Mapper Pro is where I do all of my final work when I bring everything in. I bring in CAD files, the DSM. It's actually where I generate the contours. And so in the next video, it's going to be the last video you need for LiDAR to show you start to finish. And we're going to show you what I do, preparing the flight, flying it. If you already know a lot about LiDAR, it may be way more information than you need. But anyway, in that video, I'm going to show you bringing in the CAD files from the surveying company, getting everything ready, and then pushing out the deliverables. So it should be very good for somebody that's just trying to understand the complete workflow for LiDAR. I'm going to show you that. Then after that video, I'll probably take where a job I recently did where I did merge the mobile LiDAR and the aerial LiDAR and just merge that in together. I'll probably make that a separate video. But anyway, but for visualizing the quality of the point cloud, we're going to look in LiDAR 360 MLS. But you're going to see in a minute when I go into LiDAR 360 MLS. Now that's where the intensity view is phenomenal. So see now, look, you can still see. You can see this right here. Look at that curb line right there. I'm going to tell you what now. This is really good stuff. And of course we can see the power lines back here. A lot of good details. But when we go and look at it in LiDAR 360 MLS, that's where you sure enough see the details of that. Now we are in LiDAR 360 MLS. We have our trajectory displayed here, and so if I want to turn that off, I can. Anyway, let's just go ahead and we'll leave that on for right now. So I'm going to come in here and we're going to look at this I'm going to turn off the trajectory. Turn that off. Okay. Again, this right here, so we are looking at this in intensity view, and man, it's just remarkable how clean this is. Okay, so driving around, we're going to pick up. We can do a road analysis, look for potholes. There's just a number of things we can do. So matter of fact, let's get back over here, and now let's look. And you know, when you zoom in and out, because I'm recording, we get a little bit of funkiness in these different zoom levels. You know, that's just the way it is. But what I want to do is we're going to look at so here's the profile view. Now I'm going to come up to the profile tool. I'm going to click on it, and let's just go across, and let's change this to 0.05 right there. Now let me zoom in. You know what? So what I'm going to do is change it from, in my coloring, let's look at it by elevation, because now the points will be a lot better. And again, we're in meters right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure. So I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to measure from top to bottom right here. Now length is your overall length, but when you look at the Y, I mean, look at that. I mean, that is just super tight. As far as a thickness of the point cloud, we got a few little noise points right up here, but man, this is a very tight point cloud going across the roadway. And so I come over and look. So here is what you're seeing now. So here's where the road goes up. Here's your gutter right here. This is the curb. This is top of curb, back of curb, and of course here's the gutter, and then it comes down and meets the roadway. So you're seeing where it goes up, meets the road, and of course we get the top of curb right here, and then this part we're just up in the grass, in the median between to the side, and boom. Now let's go all the way across, and let's just do it at a half right there. So again, this is the median area right here in the middle, and then this is the roadway. Now look, it's going to be thicker because I took a much wider slice. But let's still go ahead and measure that right here. So we're at 400ths, but we can take this down from a half to 0.05. Now we're taking a very, very thin slice. Oops, let's go here. There you go. I mean, it's just a very tight slice of the pie there. Again, there's the median, and then we have, let's see. So here's the sidewalk right there. So let's go ahead and come across, up, and again, we're gonna do 0.05, okay. And then this, let's see. So that should be, let's just do the sidewalk. Right there. 0.5. Now we get a much thicker, oh, we don't want that, we want 0.5. There we go. All right. So again, we can see that's going to probably be the edge of the sidewalk there. And then the majority of points are right here. We got a few noise points right up at the top. Now on this particular deal, I went in and then back out. So we're going to have some points that hit. So when you'll see noise points from where I drove on the way out that are going to hit right over there. But then the majority of your points are going to be from right here to about right there. So 300ths. If we go up 600s all the way to the top. But these are your main, this is your main points right here, and these right here we could actually filter those out. So man, it is just remarkable on the quality. You can see, you see the power lines. Matter of fact, let's spin this around, and just excellent quality on the power poles. Matter of fact, let's get so. And again, I am not a power pole specialist. There are guys that know all the different parts of the pole, and they're going to know. But we can measure from the bottom up to each of these lines. We can measure the gaps and spacing between our lines very accurately. So the XT32 on a vehicle is a very viable option for doing mobile LiDAR, for street road inspections, power line inspections, doing facades. And I'm going to do some shorter videos, maybe just highlighting maybe a certain aspect. We're going to go in, let's do a facade scan, do a couple different areas, and just show you the quality of the point cloud and how that turns out. But this unit right here, not only is it great as an aerial unit, we'll have the video doing the complete aerial LiDAR mission from start to finish. That's going to be on the Whisper Ranger Pro. Again, the quality of the point cloud from that, it's going to be outstanding. Now you're actually seeing here, before we do that one, that this thing can not only be mounted on the Ranger XT32, it can be on a M300, M350, but you can also get a tripod mount with suction cups to put on your vehicle. It can be on the hood, the front hood of the car, or you can mount it on the back rear of the car. And during the video, I explained how when you actually put it on the front, you can govern what is in front of you. So if you're doing maybe a road inspection, you can now create the space you need so that we don't have a bunch of noise in the LiDAR, where if it's on the rear of the car, somebody comes up and they're on your bumper, I mean, you're just going to have to pull over, let them go around, and then continue your mission. So I hope this has been very, very helpful. Let me know in the comments below if there are certain types of jobs that you want to see more details on, or if you have specific questions on the setup for doing a mobile mission. If you have, I don't know, just whatever questions you have, put them in the comments below. I will answer those. If there's more videos you want to see in regards to the mobile capabilities of this XT32, let me know that. I will be doing some videos in the very near future on the Topo Drone 200 Plus, which is the M2X, the Hesai M2X. I want to show you that. I've got Green Valley LiDAR units. We're going to be doing some videos on those units. I'm going to start showing all the different units that we carry, show you the data sets, maybe pros and cons of each one, and just put that out there for you to see so you can decide, well, what's going to be the best unit for you. So whether you need just a LiDAR unit, maybe you already have Global Mapper and LiDAR 360, you just need a LiDAR unit, we can help you with that. Maybe you have nothing and you need LiDAR, a drone, you need software for processing. We can provide everything you need for LiDAR missions from beginning to end. We now have everything you need, one-stop shop, dronemappingtools.com. Pay us a visit. Let me know if you have any questions.